I'm Ryan. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna talk about some songs and probably get off topic.
Hey there, I'm Ryan, and this is episode 2, The Apple Barn. And this episode, going into maps, I wanted to talk about, the things leading up to maps, but not just immediately, but the background, I think. The Cincinnati music scene when I was growing up was weird. It was cool. There was a lot of cool stuff that I'll get into this season for sure, and a lot of good stories. But I got to be a part of some cool bands, and Aeva, who I talked to first, was the bass player and one of the songwriters in my first, I guess, real full band, and there was a lot of cool stuff there. They were all really talented, and I was just trying to even figure out guitar, so we get into that. And also Danny, who of course was mixtapes merch person, and so much more than that. And he's amazing. He'll probably be on almost all these episodes because I like to talk to him, and he's seen me at my best, my worst, and everything in between. So this was a great episode. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you. And here's the Apple Barn. Thanks. Hey there.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. How's your day? You just had a big trip.
Oh yeah, I just got back in from Phoenix, went there, hung out with some former students. I was a high school teacher for a little bit before I transitioned, so
Right,
my
right.
first time going back out there full time presenting female. So
Right,
it
right.
was a good time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it exciting? Was everybody like on board and everything?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Good.
I mostly hung out with former students because
Good.
I'm trashy. But it was fun.
Hey,
I
you
had a
got the
good
hat
time.
on. You already said it's trash day. I like it. Oh, that's good. This is Ava. To anybody watching, I've known you for 20 years, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah, just about that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and literally the reason I wanted to have you on here, I think it's an important part, is that the band that we were in together was not only, I think, a band where I really started developing and learning like the kind of music I wanted to write, which I think really does impact mixtapes a lot in a lot of ways. But also like our band together was the first band it was the first real band. The only band that I was in before that played shows was Verbal Dynamite, which was a band that I loved, and it was so much fun, but we didn't have a real drummer. It was like a hip hop thing, and our band together was called the Random Heroes, and it was the first real band I was in, really. And yeah, and the Random Heroes, I think were great. I think we had a lot of fun and a lot of cool ideas, and I carried a lot of those ideas into mixtapes for sure. As far as even like the way you played bass, like your bass lines, like, and just the way the songs were written, the quirkiness. So I think that's a cool story, and I also think that just that whole story of I was thinking, you can give me your opinion. I know Cincinnati, love it or hate it for a lot of reasons. I think at the time, the music scene that we were a part of was kind of cool and interesting, only because I feel like Cincinnati's such a weird place and has such like a weird fuck you type attitude, which can be bad and good. And I think that we were like in this scene where you had so many bands that were either like, we're a straight edge hardcore band, we sound like the Starting Line, we sound like Glassjaw. And I think we had so many bands that were like, the band that started our pop punk band that you and I did shit was formed out of your band at the time, which was the Midwest Ballers. Which, how would you even describe the Midwest Ballers? I mean,
Uh, the Midwest Ballers were kind of like, I don't know, taking like the worst parts of emo, the Misfits, and God only knows what else from the kitchen sink. It was
like
a high school band for
Blood for
sure.
Blood, maybe, or something.
Yeah, it was
Like,
kind of like edging at street punk. Yeah, we covered Blood for Blood.
yeah. And Lars Fredrickson and the Bastards.
Lars Fredrickson, the Bastards, Rancid. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the vein that we were coming out of. It was more like a street punk kind of vibe, really.
For sure. And then like, I mean, you were doing that, and then I was in a band called Verbal Dynamite, who sounded like, I guess, for better or worse, the Bloodhound Gang. I don't know. Like, it was
Yeah.
this weird like, and there was just, and we were playing like, with bands like Train of Thought, who went on to be Foxy Shazam, and all these people who like, it was just different. And I think that's at least cool looking back. I think the music scene we were part of was like not, it was very unique.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, yeah, it was just different. And like your guys' shows were a spectacle. I think we had a lot of bands that wanted to put on shows and just be ridiculous. Like I remember Midwest Ballers shows, you guys were ridiculous. Verbal Dynamite shows, we were ridiculous. And I don't mean like we just talk shit or this or that. There was of course a lot of that, but I mean we were literally like setting up like people getting smashed through tables at our shows, like assaulting crowds with like oatmeal, like
whipped cream pulls.
yeah, there was just like everything.
Hundreds of cupcakes.
Yeah, like just whatever it was. And there was a really cool scene because everyone was making a spectacle, and it never seemed to me like we were making a spectacle to impress anyone or to be better than anybody else. We just all were ridiculous. Like all of us were just like, what can we do that's completely stupid? And like, let's just make this a thing. And I think it started probably, honestly, at least for me. I don't know about you. You'd probably say the same for the Midwest Ballers. Obviously, I don't mean the offense with this, but same for me. Is it started with us of like, we're not very good. Like our band's not very good.
No, we kind of suck.
Yeah, like we're not good. We're not the worst, but like we're not very good, and I don't really know how to be better at this point in my life. Because like I hadn't figured it out.
There was definitely some compensation going on for lack of talent. We did we could draw the numbers, but it took like a chainsaw on a couch, or
you did, didn't you?
Us throwing some Christmas ornaments around at people or something like that.
Some of the shows did get dangerous. I remember you did chainsaw a couch, didn't you?
Yeah, we chainsaw a couch, took a maul to it, smashed up all kinds of things.
Yeah, I remember at one of the shows I think we played together, somebody had a hatchet, and somehow a newspaper stand machine had gotten inside of the venue. Do you remember that? And someone was smashing it with like an axe, like a battle axe or a hatchet or some shit.
Oh, that was me. It was fun.
It was just so much. And it's just funny as like maybe stuff like that was happening all over the country. I just feel like it, maybe not. Like I just feel like when we would play out of town shows at that time, you would just see so many bands imitating this or that. And the bands we had weren't necessarily better, but I think they were cooler.
They were definitely more interesting. There was more of a spectacle.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it was definitely making up lack of talent. And I think when we got together, I remember we wanted to start like a pop punk band. But even that being said, I remember at the time, I think we had the idea of like, oh, there's my dog. Hey, Charlie.
That's really adorable.
He's a little teddy bear. I remember we even talked about it, and I think we had the idea of just being like, hey, we're gonna start a pop punk band, but let's make it something different. And I don't think we had any idea of what that meant at the time, but I remember specifically us being like, we want to be musically different. We didn't want to sound like the Starting Line, and we didn't want to sound like NoFX either. Like, and those are we like NoFX and we like punk, but like I think at that time, those were like if you were doing melodic or popish punk, I think it was either like a skate punk type thing was big, or like the Drive Through Record stuff.
Yeah,
and I
we
think
kind of tried to go for like a blend of the. I think we called it sexcore. Actually, I think that's what you called it.
Sexcore. Yeah, we did, and it was it ended up really cool. I think Random Heroes was cool. I'm gonna get some of that music from you, and in this episode, I'm gonna post some links to some of the songs and the videos you made.
Absolutely.
But, we got to start this band. I guess, at the time, I guess I'll definitely, it's because it's definitely interesting. I mean, I knew you as Dave.
Yeah, that's my dad's name.
Yeah, and it is. And I like Aeva.
I like Aeva a lot better too. Yeah. She's definitely a lot more confident.
You know what? I agree. I think Dave had a different like stuff going on and some, I don't know what it was, but you seem so comfortable and happy, and it makes me extremely happy, to be honest with you.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. It's a big improvement.
Yeah, definitely. The last time I saw you was awesome. It was Warped Tour, I think, in Arizona. Yeah. But you definitely seem a lot more confident and just happy. It feels like it makes me happy.
That's cool. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's definitely a change, but for me, it's definitely a better one.
Yeah, hey, that's all that matters. I can definitely see it. And I think, so we started the band, and we just, it was, I think our first name was supposed to be Final Affront. Do you remember that?
Yes. Originally, I think I had more artistic control in the very beginning because it kind of like warped from the ballers, which was probably a bad idea because I can't take anything serious at all. I mean, you're not much better, but you can at least
No,
try to take things
not really.
serious.
Yeah, we had a ridiculous group of people, and that's a theme throughout bands, I think, in my life. Because I don't think I could be in a band with serious people like that take it serious in those ways. I don't think it was in our
Yeah,
nature.
absolutely.
It wasn't in our nature.
No, we were
And
very sarcastic.
yeah. And we so I remember we just started this band and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be in this real band. And I think we made it like we got to go to Detroit and we recorded a full-length record with Royce Nunley, who was the bass player of the Suicide Machines. And like already at that point, like I was like, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like I didn't care if I made it any further. I was like, I recorded a record with the guy from the Suicide Machines. You know, and I was like, for me, I was like, he's like my favorite bass player besides, Matt Freeman from Rancid.
That was so intimidating.
It was, yeah, you being
It
the
was like
bass
having
player.
someone just like and I'm like, oh God, this guy
Yeah.
is so much better than me.
We're sitting in the studio, yeah, I remember. And even us though, like better at guitar. I mean, he's a super good musician.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
we're just
yeah.
sitting there like, oh, I felt ridiculous. And I remember he was sitting there looking at me playing guitar without a pick. And I remember
We were
like
such trash.
we had these like weird arrangements and he was just looking at us like we were crazy. I remember like we just had these song ideas. And like, because I think what Random Heroes did is we mixed like pop punk with almost like, I don't even know, like They Might Be Giants or something.
Well, we each had like
Like,
our own, like niche that we came into the band from, and it kind of like was a conglomeration of like all the different styles. Like Mark had some ska influence, and you could definitely hear that in how he sang.
100%. Mark sang like a ska singer with a great
Yeah,
voice. It's not a bad thing.
he was a
An
good singer.
amazing voice.
I thought Mark was a very talented singer. I was really privileged to be in music with him.
100%. 100%. And then
James was very metal at the time. He's
yeah.
kind of grown a little bit since then, but at the time he was very metal, and his chord progressions is like a rhythm guitarist. Definitely kind of, you heard those chord scales and things like
James
that.
was really good at coming up with chord progressions in the middle of a pop punk song that worked, that made no sense.
Yeah.
100%.
I definitely listened to way too much Rancid and that kind of,
But you still had a cool swing to it, or like we would be like playing like some weird like clean part or something or a bridge, and you would be playing like some Herbie Hancock sounding like bass thing. Like there was definitely a coolness to it. I thought it made it unique for sure. There was definitely a uniqueness there.
I was definitely trying to compensate for something with my bass playing.
But it was good bass playing. And I think, yeah, we definitely, I think, had a cool sound. Like I think I'm gonna post the songs like I said, but I think I took a lot of that with me in mixtapes and even like Black Tie Bombers and the band I did after that and things, because I like that quirky style. Like I liked doing weird things and shorter songs, and I like that our songs didn't all have like repeating hooks, and it was things that I thought were cool that I wanted to keep doing for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, we got to play a show at Walmart. And I think a lot of bands, and it's funny because I saw a thing online the other day that was like, make a list. Like it wasn't make a list, but it was like, if you want to, like, craziest, weirdest shows I've played, and it was just people in bands that I'm friends with posting it. I was like, well, we played in a Walmart and like we were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And it was the most awkward show maybe of all time. Like, I don't know. I remember
it was so bad.
Our drummer worked at Walmart, I believe, right?
Yeah, Robbie worked there.
Yeah, our drummer worked there, and they had asked him for some reason. They had some like Memorial Day or some holiday like sale or something. They were like, we want to do live entertainment. Does your band want to play? Not realizing like we're this like, because I think a lot of people like at work, especially when you're working with older people and like a lot of people who aren't in touch with like more like indie or underground stuff, which
Youth
is
culture and things like that.
sure,
yeah.
which is fine. Like that's fine. And like there's those people, they think like, oh, you're in a band, and they don't realize like they have these sarcastic asshole people that literally want to get on stage. We wanted to get on stage and instigate people, like
say what the fuck ever.
Yeah, our shows like got crazy. I mean, we got kicked out of band challenges. We got like in almost physical altercations, and like we were not the band to have played a Walmart. That is for sure.
No, it was
And
definitely an interesting. I mean, we could clean it up. Like we changed our lyrics and we would play at some Christian venues and things like that.
yeah, and we
So
we
like
were
we
good. Like we weren't
could.
assholes. Like we weren't
No.
mean. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Maybe we were assholes, but we weren't mean. I think there's a difference. Like we always had a
Yeah.
playfulness to it. I don't think we were ever mean to anybody. Like it was never
No.
cruel. Like it was just like
No.
it was just silly. Like we were just dumb.
Yeah.
And we just like making fun of everything. And we played Walmart, and I don't think it didn't go very well. I think we were supposed to play for like the full day, but we didn't play for that long.
No.
And I don't
No.
remember what happened.
It was
Walmart gave
definitely
us the boot, and that's
interesting
okay because you know
show.
what? Fuck Walmart anyways.
Yes.
Because
Fuck them.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're probably a terrible company. I've heard not good things. B, I tried to get a PS5 there anyways last night, and it let me put the shit in my cart. It let me hit checkout. It let me put in my address, and it let me put in my credit card number and hit place order. And then it said error out of stock.
Oh God.
I was very
That's
sad.
a pain.
I mean, I
You
wasn't
should
like
be sad.
I wasn't like actually upset, but I was upset just to the point where I was like, if I'm at the point where you're like letting me put in my credit card number and hit place order, I feel like that should be reserved for me at that point.
Well, speaking of video games, that was a big inspiration for us too, as a
It
band.
was. Yeah, we just talked about that was the lyrical quirk I think that the Random Heroes had is we just talked about everyday shit or the weirdest shit ever. Like we didn't really talk about like emotions. We
No.
just either literally talked about like what we were doing like in very literal detail or just like crazy shit that made no sense. And I love the balance. And that's where it reminded me almost of They Might Be Giants or something.
Yeah, they're definitely like Fish Just Called or something where we're talking about going to like the Scientology place and like driving into Harrison and random shit and encounters that we had with people there.
I just told that story the other day on the Big Snackers podcast that I do about Fish,
Nice.
just because it is the best. Like, man, that was one of the best. That was the worst drug dealer of all time. Yeah, we were just
Hey,
right. What'd you say?
I was just gonna do my Fish impression. Well, it's different now. Let me try it. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Hey, hey, kid.
Hey.
Hey, you got a cigar? You got any weed in that cigar?
He really was like a comic book character. Like you get close to you, like you got any weed in that guy? You're like, no, man. He was like, I'm Fish, like the band. He's like, if you ever want any weed, go ahead. And we're just like, no, we're good, man.
Takes
like,
my hand, like writes his number on it and everything. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
That had to be a cop for sure.
Oh, it was so absolutely ate up. I can't even believe like some of the shit at Tri-County Mall too that just like happened. Like the nylon priest, like the priest that we found in there that had like it was all like made of nylon, but it was like a priest frock and everything. Like you can't just explain some of the shit that we saw.
Hey, Cincinnati's special. It needs to be documented. That's why I'm here. I was like, it's a magical place. It's a magical time for sure. The nylon priest. Yeah, we lived, I think.
The Universal Soldier with the hole in his head at the McDonald's in Harrison.
Oh yeah. The McDonald's in Harrison was a whole different place for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I live in a small town for people listening or watching, and it's definitely a little different out here. I live like on the outskirts of Cincinnati, and I live in kind of like let's see, what's a good word for it? Redneck area. So that's yes, it is basically.
I would fit right in the way I'm dressed right now.
Maybe actually, yeah, for sure. Especially the jean jacket. And
yeah.
The rhinestone hat for sure. No, but Harrison. So yeah, we had a lot of good stories, and I think at the very least, I can say to our credit, and I think it came out in our music, is I think we realized we were normal suburban kids with pretty normal lives, but I think we didn't necessarily want to make the same type of music that those people made, but we also realized we didn't want to make anything fake. And I think it did make something cool, and I think that is important to what I did because that influenced my songwriting forever, because after that, like going back from the stuff we were writing and talking about wild shit but also personal, normal, everyday stuff in that way, to me, was something that I took with me because I couldn't really regress from that to where it was like I didn't want to go be in a band after that and just write about girls. You know what I mean? Like, or at least like love song, at least love songs and like sad love songs. I was like, after that, it was like, if I'm gonna write about a girl, okay, why? What's the story? And it made me think about things differently. And like, it's funny because I don't think we planned any of that. We were not thinking about it at all. but I think it did have a cool approach that like affected the way I write songs to a T. Of like, I want to tell stories, or at least do something different, or I want
Yeah,
to
it
put
was.
in. What is that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I don't remember what I was going to say, to be honest with you.
Uh, yeah, it definitely had like a very narrative quality, the songwriting did, and it was very tongue in cheek. Like it was very sarcastic.
And I still write sarcastic just because it's just, I think maybe it's a Midwest thing. I don't know. But I can't help it at all. And it was just cool because from there we got to play a lot of cool shows. We got to meet a lot of cool people. And I think you still have some of the shows on VHS actually.
Yeah, I do. I have some. They're electronic now. Actually, we've upgraded.
Really? Okay, you need to
Yeah,
get me those. I want to put those online.
yeah. Unfortunately, most of them were relatively early. I think there is this show though. We used to have a nice punishment where if you were late for practice, you had to put on a article of women's clothing because
Yeah.
we all presented male at the time.
Yeah.
James was like 99% of the time Jane for like shows.
Yeah. Oh,
because
that's
James
right.
was often late. One
was-
time we didn't have anything and we got there and my girlfriend's like, I have this mini skirt. So, little preview of upcoming events, but I do have the show where I'm in the mini skirt. So
Hey, there you go. That's at least some foreshadowing.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing of future events.
I like that. Yeah, those were fun shows. I think we just enjoy being goofy. I need to upload some of those. I don't know. We also, we had our joke song that was like a half joke of I hate George Bush.
Yeah.
And I remember one time we were playing a battle of the bands somewhere and we got kicked out and I don't remember what happened. But all I remember is we started playing this song called I Hate George Bush that we had that was kind of a satire of political bands. Like it was an overly sarcastic song just because I think at the time that was amidst like the punk voter time.
Yeah, there are all kinds of cheesy political punk bands.
Well, we didn't even disagree with their messages. It's not like any of us were George Bush fans. We just disagreed with how dorky they portrayed their messages, I think. We just thought it was like a little bit overbearing of like some of like the bands of the time, like super political, or it's like a Disney version of politics almost with cuss words.
Yeah. Or they would just try to become very pretentious and use like a bunch of words that kind of got lost, like the meaning got lost behind some of the word choices they tried to use in their lyrics and things like that. Like, you kind of saw that a little bit with Anti-Flag.
Yeah, 100%. And it was just like, I think we were just like that sarcastic nature that we have. We're just like, all right, well, we're going to make fun of this. So we had this song where I just sang and our singer played guitar and it was a 3-chord song that sounded like the worst street punk band, but it was catchy. And we started playing this song and this like the place we were playing at this band challenge cut off our sound. And all I remember is we kept playing with just the drums and we were screaming and our friends were like jumping into the crowd and they were like going to call the cops on us. And we were so obnoxious and like having to pack up our van and drive the hell out of there. Like we were getting like chased out of there. Like it was like a town with like people with like fucking pitchforks. You know what I mean? That's like, and that was just like everywhere we went. It was just, it was like chaos. It was just, that was our vibe and we were comfortable in it almost.
Oh yeah, it was pretty fun. Or we were on Hamilton radio. We got kicked off by the mayor. The mayor called in and said the mayor of Hamilton called like Hamilton High Radio and said never have them on again.
And it was it wasn't, and I don't even necessarily think it was like as much. It was shock value, but it was also just like I think just like it make each other laugh.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even, we wouldn't always even necessarily do offensive things. It was just ridiculous things. Like, it wasn't like we were just, like, it was just ridiculous. Like, what can we do to make this situation annoying or awkward? And like, like when we did interviews, that was the exact goal. So getting kicked off of radio and just, getting kicked off stages. And then I think I took that with me for a long time, for better or worse, probably for worse. Definitely probably for worse, especially once drugs and alcohol and things became involved later in life, for worse. But back then at an innocent time, it was definitely a fun thing.
Yeah, we were all pretty young.
Exactly.
I don't think there was too much of a drug problem with the Random Heroes.
No,
there was some pot, but that's about it.
Some pot at the most. And then that was it. No pot for me back then either. No.
I played the fifth, which I was probably drinking too at the time.
Yeah, fair enough. That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, I think that was a great time, and I think it affects my songwriting, and I think it was a cool moment for us. I definitely want to put those songs up, so I'm gonna get the tapes from you, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna get the songs from you, and I'm gonna put them in a link under this video so people can enjoy some old Cincinnati history of weirdness. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. We covered everything. Is there anything else you would like to add?
That's just about it. Just keep on trucking,
Oh, you keep on trucking too. I'm going to see you soon, and I will hit you up, and I'm going to have you back on here as well, and we will follow up.
Awesome. Sounds badass. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, cool.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome, Danny Gorman.
Howdy, friend. How are you?
Good. It's not quite The Price is Right, but I am here to, I'm not Drew Carey.
Is it weird that I still forget Drew Carey hosts Price is Right because I'm 100 years old?
No, I've watched very few episodes of Drew Carey hosting The Price is Right. And to be fair, when I've seen it, he seems like he does a great job.
He's a nice man.
Yeah, I have no qualms with him. He seems like a nice guy. No, I don't think he's had any big scandals or anything. He seems like a nice guy.
That's saying a lot in 2020.
It really is. He seems like a good guy. He had the pool table outside on his show. I loved that show.
It's a great show. I've always loved that show.
It was a great show. And I had the President's United States of America theme song, which was it's a classic theme song.
Such an underrated band.
But back to my globe that we were talking about before we were recording. Is I was trying to, figure out the first episode I did of this, I showed you. I didn't have any background at all. And it just, I was like, man, I need to really class it up here for this. So going into the second episode and the first real episode here, I was like, what can I do to really show people that I mean business, that I'm here to make a real show? So I said,
it says classy like a globe. Let me tell you.
A globe with a bear on top of it. A cheeseburger.
Well, of course.
You've got Grimace, but Grimace is a big part of mixtapes. Really, arguably, maybe the most important part of mixtapes.
I mean, the unofficial mascot, I would argue.
And sometimes member, who actually had a Facebook page at one point that added me and used to talk to me and actually kind of harass me to a degree, I would say.
Did you know who it was?
That was Kamal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. His name on there.
Way better if you didn't know who it was.
100% would have been better if I didn't know who it was. There's no question that is true. But it was Kamal, and its name was Grimace Grimacy, and it was just it kind of just harassed me to a degree, honestly. But I don't think the real Grimace would be like that. The real Grimace seems like a kind, loving, he's creepy. He's got a creepiness to him, almost like maybe a Hannibal Lecter, where he is real soft-spoken, smart, but maybe there's a side that you don't know about.
Let's be real. Anybody who's living in Ronald's Playhouse is a little creepy. They're a little off.
Can you imagine if every day you woke up and walked into the kitchen and saw Ronald McDonald? You would be crazy, right? Imagine if every day you woke up and you just walked in and saw Ronald McDonald. You would be like a crazy person, because that would be like Groundhog Day, except terrifying.
The Hamburglar, you only get glimpses of him because he's always hiding and
yeah,
running in and out of the room. You open your closet there and then gone.
The Ronald McDonald Land would be terrifying to live in. And then you'd be trying to do something, and then you look over and see those little fry guys in the corner just scuttling around or something. Mayor McCheese, he'd probably be real serious. Yeah, Mayor McCheese would be serious.
He's the one who brings the law to the house for sure.
Yeah, he definitely is all right, settle down now, Grimace. Yeah, we might. He comes in there. And then wasn't Big Mac just a character?
Wasn't he Constable Big Mac?
Oh yeah, maybe.
He was the actual police officer.
He's canceled now. Police are out.
He's gone.
2020, we're out of here. So get Big Mac the fuck out of here. Yeah. Which is sad, because I mean, a Big Mac's a good sandwich. Although at that point, am I eating his head if we're talking about it McDonald Land terms? It's a weird lore.
I'm pretty sure he's just legs and arms and then body and head. So yeah, Big Mac is body and head. You're getting all of it.
All right, I'm gonna eat him, especially because he's a cop.
He's delicious.
He's gone. But and then other than that, I got the cheeseburger, and then the picture of me and my dad when I have my psychopathic rider's shirt on and my UFO shorts.
The peak of fashion.
Yeah, UFO shorts, I think, really showed people that you can go to a rave, but also be fashionable. I don't really know exactly. They were comfortable, though.
You were light and breezy and just ready for whatever comes.
Yeah, whatever's there. They did feel great. There was a good breeze to them. You got a good breeze. I like the art behind you.
Oh, thank you.
This is good art.
Little Haunted Mansion replicas from Disney World ride.
I like it. I would like to go to Disney with you. You'd be a fun person to go to Disney with.
Oh, man. When me and Becca go to Disney, it is a nonstop party.
The four of us are going to go to Disney.
I'm in on that.
It's going to happen.
So in.
It's going to happen.
Be so fun.
This next year. I have a lot of PTO saved up. I've worked hard this past year. I've got time. Let's do it.
I mean, by the end of this year, I'm going to have a lot saved up because it's not like you can go on vacation anymore.
That's just it too. To be fair, I guess I wouldn't have much of a choice anyways, but yeah, definitely. That'll be exciting. We'll go. And I guess introducing you as far as this show goes, I guess you're important for a lot of reasons, because even though technically you weren't technically there in the beginning, to me you were. You've just been at mixtapes to me like forever. Because I mean, we met very early on.
We met one of your first, like when you guys first came out to the East Coast, I think is the first time we met.
Yeah. And then from there you and I stayed pretty close and became pretty fast friends for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
So it was like that first tour. So I mean, like, and then you obviously did merch and so much more. I mean, you were like the fifth member of the band.
I wouldn't go that far, but I was there a lot.
Well, it's me. I always just like I don't know. I think everybody's important. Usually minus me. I'm not good at giving myself any credit for the most part, to be honest with you.
Minus the guy who's writing a lot of songs and
sure, but
and,
But to be honest with you, I don't look at it like that for some reason. My brain doesn't see it like that. But no, you were just. I mean, you were. I feel like anybody in the band, if I said you were the fifth member of the band, I don't imagine anybody would get upset by that, because you were very important for sure.
I very much appreciate that. You just liked all the back rubs.
Oh man, and honestly, yeah, you would give me these back rubs on tour, and they made me. I miss them. I do, and I'm gonna have to leave. I'm gonna have to leave my wife. I'm gonna go tell her. I'm gonna go tell her.
No one rubs you like I can. Just remember that.
Did I FaceTime her and tell her? No.
I wouldn't. Don't jeopardize that yet.
I think she's watching Jeopardy, and this is a serious time to watch Jeopardy, so I'm not going to get which, as much as like I was kind of being goofy, not really, because honestly, Alex Trebek seemed like a cool ass dude, and that's a sad one. I saw him on some podcasts over the last few years, and I remember being like, not that I ever had anything bad ever. Like I always thought he seemed cool, but like he seemed like a genuinely awesome dude. I would have loved to have known that guy.
Oh, for sure. He seems like such a cool hang. I wish he had his mustache the whole time. I was really kind of bummed when he shaved it off. It's the only song he ever put against.
It was weird.
His mustache. I was like, that ain't him.
Alex Trebek without a mustache would be like me showing up with a mustache.
Which you do quite often. And
yeah, no one likes it. No one.
You've never quite learned how to grow facial hair for some reason.
I don't think it's a learning thing. I think I'm incapable of growing facial hair. I don't have a beard. Like anytime I have a beard is because I'm lazy, because shaving's annoying. Like no, who in the world is like, dude, I get to shave tonight? I'm like,
no, you're for real. Shaving is the
really
worst
pumped about it. It is one of those things, honestly, in the world, like maybe one of the least liked things, because really, does a single person like shaving? There's no one likes it.
It doesn't get anyone pumped for the day.
No, I would love to meet that guy though, like a super positive guy that's just like, or like maybe it's a real dominant thing where he's like, I just like taking control of those hairs and letting them know. Like it's some weird like fetish maybe. It's like a kink.
Every few hours he just goes, oh no, don't start with me, stubble. You're out of here.
You're going to spring back up. That 5 o'clock shadow is going right back to zero. No, but this is going to get so off track, which is good because I made a theme song actually earlier today for this podcast, and it's only about 10 seconds long, and it's about how it's I'm going to talk about songs and probably get off track or off topic. So
I feel like the
Here we are.
show is going to devolve into you just being the musical guest of a talk show every day.
I'm okay with that because honestly, that's what I would prefer, because there's not too much to say about songs all the time. Like, but we'll get started on that. Yeah. For instance, this song is the Apple Barn, that this episode is structured around. And like I said, it's not like, I'm not going to spend entire episodes talking about an entire song just because I'm not like the tech guy. It's not that interesting. Like talking about the structure of the song, this and that. And I don't know if people would like that or not, but I don't think I'm the guy to necessarily talk about things like that. Maybe sometimes. We'll see.
Well, you're more of a melody and lyrics guy.
Yeah,
That's
that's
where all
just
of your
it.
stuff come from. Is that catchiness and here's some things I have to say.
That's about it. That's all I have. So the Apple Barn, I think, was a good one to start this with, just because it was. Well, I guess we'll go back to the Cookies, and I don't need to take long, but the Cookies was a band that I did after I was in a bunch of punk bands. I was in a band called the Random Heroes that I just talked about, and I was also in like Black Tie Bombers and all these punk bands, and that's kind of when I started like figuring out the kind of lyrics I wanted to write and kind of what I wanted to focus on. And the Cookies was a group. It was just me and a girl named Abby Kelly, who her brother actually is doing really well and put out a record. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, named Rustin Kelly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's actually his sister. And
Oh, that's so random.
right, that's super weird. And her and I met her. She was in a band called the Blue Kids. And all I could tell you about, I don't remember, it was her and 3 other dudes. And I remember they covered AFI, and she sang and played guitar.
Cool band.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, that's cool. So like we became friends, and we just started like making these songs. And the reason this is relevant is because a lot of them, not a lot of them, actually, yeah, almost all the Cookie songs ended up being mixtape songs.
Really? All of
Yeah,
them?
I don't think a lot of people know. Minus maybe 1 or 2.
I didn't
But
even
like,
know that.
yeah, Orange Yellow was a Cookie song. 6 Quarters was a lot of Successful Party. So it was kind of a precursor of what I wanted to do. And I realized when I made a lot of those songs, I wanted to do it as a full band and like start a band. And then obviously when Moore and I started playing together, it was like the most perfect fit ever. So
For sure.
it was exciting. So the Apple Barn was a good one because it was a song that I wrote back then. So it's definitely an older song, but it also got re-recorded.
I was about to say it. I didn't realize that came out because that didn't come out until you put out Throw a
Successful Party.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on there.
So that was later in mixtapes.
Right. It was. So this is technically a Maps, season, but
Wow.
what am I going to do?
I never knew that.
I got to build up to it. So
Hey, that's
this is
cool,
this
man.
is this is the precursor. So this is definitely a song I wrote a long time ago, and I think the lyrics show that. It's got a youthfulness to it. It's just, it's a pretty simple song. Not that I ever advanced to not simple songs, but it's a very simple song, and it's a fun one. What is your shirt, by the way? I really like it.
Oh, it's a wrestling shirt.
I just walked in there when I got ready before I called you, and Katie was watching wrestling, and I said I would tell her, and you would probably be proud. I don't know if she was actually watching it. I feel like she probably just turned the TV on and that channel was on, and she's playing with the dogs.
She's just trying to not show her fandom too hard. She's definitely watching it.
Honestly, if like she just got super into the WWE, I wouldn't be mad about it. I would just be like, go you, like you get into that. I was like, I'm probably not gonna watch it with you, but I support it. I loved it. I remember.
I'll watch it with her.
But getting back to the topic, well, we are on the topic of that song, but also to the topic of the whole idea of the show is, I think you are the perfect person to be here because as far as mixtapes goes, you got to be there, through all the tours and all that and everything. So you got to be around, and you're one of my favorite people to talk to. So I think just getting to talk to you is going to be fun, and hopefully other people enjoy that too. But either way, that's okay.
Too bad for them if they don't.
But I think as far as Maps goes, I think I met you and I met the first time we came out there, and I don't remember what show that was. Maybe you do. I don't remember.
You guys were opening for the Wonder Years. I don't know what they were doing, but you guys came out to like do one of their shows. I don't know if it was like a Halloween show, or if it was an album show or an EP show, but
I don't know.
They were doing something.
I don't remember. I remember that. And then we met and then we became friends. And then you came to Cincinnati for something, didn't you?
So there was a New Year's Eve show.
That's right.
It was you.
That was a great show.
That was an awesome show. Dopamines played, Copyrights played. Me and my
Banner Pilot or somebody even maybe.
Banner Pilot was on it. Yeah. It was a great show. So
that was
that was my first time out to Ohio, and we came and we stayed with you.
Yeah, you stayed with me, and then we went to Waffle House.
And Waffle House in Harrison has changed my life.
Harrison changes anybody's life. That's what I'm saying. There's a certain Ohio attitude. I've already talked about it with so many people before, and I'm sure I'll talk about it a lot of times on this show. But Ohio's weird, man. Ohio's different. It's it's different, and every place is. I'm not saying it's better or worse, this or that. Ohio's just different. It's got a
But
vibe.
this is a different kind of different. Like you go to that Harrison Waffle House after like 2 a.m.
All bets are off.
Dude, you have no idea what's going on.
And it's not just like a lot of places, because a lot of times when you say stuff like that, I think that people feel like, oh, is it dangerous? Is it this or that? And it's not necessarily that. I mean, it could be dangerous for sure. It can be dangerous for sure. A lot of guns. But it was that was a wild night, and it was just like a packed night. And also that show was awesome because the copyrights, Banner Pilot, Dopamines, we played. That was a good show. I'm glad you came.
What was the name of that venue? I don't think it's there anymore.
It was the like, Southgate House, wasn't it?
That's what it was. The Southgate House. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a New Year's Eve show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember the Dopamines got so drunk that Michael, I don't think, played the last 2 songs. I think the Dopamines literally played the last 2 songs with no drums, but just full like distorted guitar, if my memory serves correctly.
Dopamines are the best band to see, not necessarily because I want to hear them play songs. I just want to see them get more and more wasted as the second.
I remember just being on stage at that show in my like Dipset New York Knicks jersey with champagne being poured all over me and everyone else. And Michael, I think, blacked out, not even playing the last song. And it was definitely it was a fitting New Year's Eve show. It was a chaotic burst of some Midwest energy for sure.
Oh yeah. It was so Midwest. It was that like perfect time of Midwest pop punk or fest punk, whatever you want to call it.
The Midwest will bring you the party, but it will also bring you the very dark, seedy underside after it.
Yes,
you get
Harrison.
You get the full experience. Man, I don't even remember what exactly happened to Waffle House. It was something insane. I remember that we were there. And I just remember we heard something. We're like, "Oh, we should probably need to go soon."
I remember people who came in and sat at the like booth near us. One of them was just wearing overalls and no shirt. Doesn't look like pants or shoes or anything. Literally just the overall look. It was New Year's Eve in Ohio.
It was freezing. It had to have been below freezing.
And the other dude had 4 teeth. And we kind of looked up and heard a couple things said and went, all right, we're going to need that check and we're going to need to get out of here. This has been a fun experience. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, it's fun. What we used to do out here too is, because it really is different out here, is and actually Katie and I started doing it recently, is we'll just drive out into Indiana down back roads and just drive and go through like backwoods and towns and stuff. And like, you'll find crazy shit. Like,
dude, I can't even imagine what you find out in those cornfields.
Oh yeah. I mean, we used to drive out there and we found, there used to be a house called the Knick-Knack House. And like, if you drove down the street in Indiana in the middle of nowhere called Pinhook, if you just drove for miles and miles, there was like this house in the middle of nowhere that looked straight out of a horror movie. And it had dozens of like grandfather clocks and just weird like statues and things in the yard. And the house seemed abandoned.
The yard?
Yeah, just all over this huge property back in the middle of the woods. And we always joked that it was the Knick-Knack House because we'd imagine that people that walked onto the property turned into one of those knickknacks, and it was just all people that turned into it, because I saw no other way. Like, it was just so weird. And
it's like a Goosebumps book.
Right? Yeah, it could have been. And we just used to explore those Indiana back roads, and I mean, a lot of weird experiences for sure. And there's just a different breed out there.
Midwest is definitely its own unique thing.
Hey, that's definitely
fun thing to go explore.
You don't want to move here for permanently?
Listen, I've lived there. I'm good.
You have lived here. Yeah.
Lived there.
You have. That's true. Yeah, you're from Jersey, and this is how Jersey you are. Is I had to email him the link here, and his email is Jersey style. There's more to it than that, but I'm not gonna give out your email. Not that it matters, but as a matter of fact, maybe I should get you some nudes. I think it's some nudes. You might need some nudes.
Listen, I get plenty of nudes from you, and I think that's all I ever need.
I'm here to send videos. I need to send you more videos. I send a lot of videos to people throughout the day.
I know you do.
It's an important part of my day.
Every once in a while, I'll get this stream of like 6 or 7 different videos and 7 or 8 different characters all talking to me, and it's really a highlight.
was talking to one of my bosses about Snapchat actually the other day, and I even said, I was like, yeah, I have a Snapchat, and she said something about something. I was like, no, I don't actually snap anyone for the most part. Every once in a while, I was like, I pretty much actually just only use it to use the filters to take videos to annoy my friends.
Yep.
That's
And
most of it. Like,
Yo, you're real pro at it. You've really gone to the next level with it.
yeah, one of these days I should start an Instagram where I just post a video every day of me and my Snapchat filters saying horrendous shit to people. That's
You
pretty
should make a
much.
collection of them.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, right?
Of all the ones you send to different people.
play this
context.
Play this when I'm dead. Which made me like, I'm one of like
We'll just loop it on a big screen at your funeral.
why not,
Man
right?
we know and love.
Yeah, right. That's what I want to be remembered for.
Here's all his personality shining through.
I think this really captures Ryan well. It's me with like a cowboy hat on.
Me crying, throwing myself at the casket.
With some Grant McDonald. And we can also, we can talk about this in later episodes because there's plenty of time. But have you realized that Grant McDonald is like getting more popular now? It's become like a TikTok thing, and like Ram Ranch has become
It's
like
a TikTok thing?
Yeah, from what I believe and what I gather, and I was talking to my stepdaughter, and like if you actually look at it now, like the plays and stuff, like it somehow caught on, and it's weird, and I don't think we're responsible for that. I'm sure it's just happenstance.
Oh, no. I think we are very much responsible for that.
But in some way, that's what I was going to say, but at least in a snowball effect way, is that at some point how much we put that out there into the world, it caught on to something. Because Ram Ranch, to be fair, and anybody watching this, if you don't know, go look it up, because don't get me wrong, it deserves to be even bigger. I want that song to be on MTV.
This should be charting every week.
Absolutely. It should, I mean, it deserves the world. It deserves the world. It is a song in all of his songs, because
I've showed every single human being I think I've ever come into contact with after discovering it, because it's just that good.
Anybody watching this, if you ever listen, and to be fair, most people don't have the sense of humor that my friends and I do, and that any of us do. But if you're ever driving with somebody and you want to make them just so fucking uncomfortable, all you ever have to do is pull up Grant McDonald on Spotify or on iTunes, and I'll tell you that he has over 200 songs on either. Yeah, you can pick any song you want. And if you just don't tell somebody and you're driving in the car with them and you put on one of those songs, it's the best feeling in the world. There's nothing better than showing that to somebody for the first time.
The horror, the laughter, the sense of dread, is this a real person? Should I be laughing at this? The what's wrong with you? I don't feel comfortable being in a car with you anymore looks you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the next time we get together, we'll play somebody a Grant McDonald song. We'll play one. We'll definitely dissect one.
Do you remember how you found that?
Most likely, and what I remember is when we would be on tour, I would be driving, and I would just type in words, like to try to find songs on Spotify.
That is 100% how we spent so much time in the mixtapes van, is looking up just random words or phrases or things that we thought were funny and see if there's a song about it.
I mean, pretty much this. If you were on tour with mixtapes and I was driving, which I drove a lot, you were either hearing a podcast or you were hearing the worst music I could find. There was very rarely a time when I would just put on like good music. No. Because I very quickly got burnt out on just listening to music that I liked. I'm not at that point now, I don't think, but I think when we were touring, I was just, podcasts were great, but if it wasn't that, it was, I was finding the worst things I could find on Spotify.
We found some horrendous things on Spotify,
and we're gonna play a lot of it throughout here, and that's what's nice. We're gonna talk about a lot of that in episodes. I mean, we have a lot of songs to talk about in the next few seasons. We have Hello, we have Goat and the Occasional Others, a lot of things. I mean, we have so many things to talk about, because I think spreading bad music might be what I'm here to do on this world.
Listening to bad music when you're touring with bands you actually like is the best thing, because you're listening to songs you like all day and all night anyway. So get in that van, listen to something you hate.
You got to find you got to find the worst of the worst, because it's what makes us better throughout the day, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's the best way to pass time in that van.
I completely agree. Well, I think that was a good chat.
I love that chat.
That was a great chat. I think I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you, being my friend.
Hey, I love you. I have a quick question though.
Go for it.
In your history of bands leading up to mixtapes,
Yeah.
where does Ukraine Crane fit in there?
Ukraine Crane would have been pretty close to right before mixtapes. It was at the end of Black Tie Bombers, kind of during that Cookies period.
Okay.
It was a time when, I was in there. The Ukraine Crane, for anybody watching this, was a band that was just like a very fast. To me, like, I think our goal was like we wanted to sound like Kid Dynamite with the trombone. I don't know
Lofty
how.
goal.
I don't know how we pulled that off, but it was fun. We weren't ska, but we had a trombone, so people always assumed we were a ska band. But we had like no ska chords. It was like very aggressive, like melodic, gritty pop punk, I guess. And it was very fun.
It's also the best band name I've ever heard in my life.
And it was, it was me on vocals, and then John and John, both from the Dopamines, on guitar, bass, and vocals. So it was a stacked band. Our 2 records, I think, are cool. Maybe I'll put those up. I'll put those up for people in here. Definitely.
It's good music, but literally, it is the best band name I've ever heard.
Because it is the worst name I've ever thought of. It definitely. And I appreciate your questions. You better keep those coming throughout these episodes.
I'll do
because
what I can.
No, the Ukraine Crane, I remember, was a band name I thought of because I don't remember why, but I just remember it made me laugh so hard because it was so bad. It was like the Ukraine Crane. It was like, how fucking annoying is that to say? Like,
it's so
what?
good.
It is what it is.
It's
But
so
the songs were
nonsensical.
good. We had two full-length records, actually, so I will definitely post them. We were actually going to talk to Vinny at some point from Less Than Jake about putting them out on paper and plastic.
Oh, really?
I think it fell through. I think there's some stuff we would have had to have changed. Things were different 12 or 13 years ago.
Yeah, a little bit, especially with you and both Johns in the band. I'm sure things were real different.
Things were a little different. And we were different people then too, to be fair, but times were different as well. So
absolutely.
So, it is what it is. But the records are great. I'll definitely post them for sure. And other than that, I appreciate you for being here. And we'll be talking very soon.
Can't wait.
This is the Apple Barn episode. And I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. This is the Apple Barn episode, and I didn't even explain why the song's called the Apple Barn.
Oh, see, we got off on too many other tangents. You are an asshole, though. Why is it called the Apple Barn?
And the reason is because my favorite restaurant is called the Apple Barn. And
real restaurant?
Applewood, and then it's the Apple Barn. Yeah, it's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Ooh, I love Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, me too. People love it or hate it, and I think it's awesome. It's like a hillbilly Las Vegas.
A hillbilly Las Vegas is the best description of Pigeon
It
Forge
is, and it's a magical, weird, terrifying, interesting, fun place to go with a lot of food and go-karts, and that's all I need. If you give me putt-putt food... What'd you say?
Besides taking our girls to Disney World together, can we also all go there together?
Yes.
It's basically Disney World.
Yeah, Katie and I went a few weeks ago just for like one night, and ended up being the same time a Jeep convention was in town. Dear Lord,
yeah.
Dude, it was mind blowing. Like, we were seeing people had lawn chairs out the main strip of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and they were just watching Jeeps roll by, drinking beers, and they were just watching Jeeps roll by, and they were just watching people do it. It was fascinating. It was some weird shit because you're just like. You're like, oh, well, I guess people do that. But the Apple Barn...
That's what I would expect to see there.
100%. It was fine. It didn't even ruin our weekend. It made traffic worse. It was annoying. But luckily, we can both just laugh. We're just like, this is hilarious. Who cares? Like, we're watching idiots get drunk and yell at Jeeps going by. Like, it's not too bad. It's a magical thing. It is a magical thing. And then, but the Apple Barn is a restaurant down there. I just love it. It's like a very homey type restaurant. It's like comfort food, but when you sit down at every table, you get like this little drink that's like pineapple juice mixed with apple juice mixed with something else. Ooh. It's insanely good with like honey or something. I don't remember. Then you get a basket of apple fritters with powdered sugar drizzled over them
Hell yeah.
with apple butter to dip it in instead of like bread as an appetizer. And you can get refills of it and keep it coming.
Wait a minute. And
I
then
can
you're
eat it
supposed
all
to order
day.
food after that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah, that place rules. So it's just some place I started going there with my parents, like, 25 years ago. So I've realized a pattern about myself is that when I name songs, it's either usually after something from my past or something that made me happy, or it is a reference to like something. Like those are my two in betweens. That's
A
about
lot
it.
of good references.
So the Apple Barn, a lot of references. So the Apple Barn is just an awesome restaurant, and I just at the time was like, well, maybe people will hear the song one day and go check out that restaurant. So who knows? Maybe that'll still happen.
I hope so.
But
Sorry, I got distracted for a second.
do you have a killer in your house? Blink twice.
I'm pretty sure it's the Hamburglar.
Oh no, well, you're a goner. I can't help you with that one.
Oh Lord.
And I will call the cops, but I already ate Big Mac earlier. So we're fucked.
Big Mac's done.
So I can't call anybody now. We're screwed. All right. Well, I think that was a great episode. I hope you have a wonderful night. And
you too, my friend.
the Apple
Thank you for
Barn
inviting me.
is here, of course. And I will talk to you very soon.
Perfect.
Have a good night.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.
I've been thinking about heading south, where they say it never gets cold. People go to grow old and talk about the good old days. I've been thinking of the reasons why I stay. So far I've got about a page. I still wonder what it'd be like without me here to make you mad. I'm not even close to finished, so don't count me out. I'd be fine if I could ever figure out just what it is I'm talking about. I've been doing things I never thought I'd do, saying things I wouldn't say. Just trust that one day I'll be coming back here to tell you why I acted like I did and said all the stupid things I said. Always told everyone that I would be rich and famous one day. We fell short this time. Your smile fades in the summer. Raise your hand in mine. I'll leave when I wanna.